Every Southern cook, every cook should know how to make great cornbread. I know how. I'm teaching you. Here's a trick for you. Before you get started mixing your cornbread, put a little olive oil. You can use veggie oil. I like olive oil. Put some olive oil in your baking dish. I'm using an 8 by 8 inch baking dish, and just drizzle it around. Put this in your oven while it preheats to 400 degrees. Your pan will be nice and hot. We'll have a pot holder ready for when it's time to put our batter in there. That will ensure a great crispy crust, and that's what makes great cornbread. So let's mix our batter while our oven preheats. We've got 1 cup of a gluten-free certified cornmeal. I'm using yellow, you can use white. I have a 1/2 cup of white rice flour. I have a 1/2 cup of cornstarch. If you have a corn allergy, you could use a different starch there, potato or tapioca. I have a 1/4 cup of white sugar. You do need the sugar in it. We need baking powder for our leavening agent. And we'll go with 1 tablespoon of that. And we need a 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt. And what we want to do now is get a whisk. Whisk these dry ingredients. The cornstarch is a little lumpy, so you can get the lumps out of that until all the dry ingredients are blended. You don't need a separate bowl for wet ingredients. We're just going to do everything in the same exact bowl. So what we need next are 2 eggs. If you are vegan, you can omit the eggs and use egg replacer to equal 2 large eggs. I have a 1/3 cup of olive oil. You can use veggie oil. I prefer the olive. And I have 1 cup of rice milk. You could use coconut milk if you wanted to. And then we need a spoon for later, but first we'll take the whisk and just whisk all this together. And we are going to bake this cornbread at 400 degrees for about 25-26 minutes. You want a nice golden edge. You want the center to slightly rise. You want to make sure this is really well mixed. Alright, now it's time to check our pan. So we'll go into the oven. And our oil is nice and thin, and we'll just sort of shake that out. And the batter goes right in. And the oil coming up around the edge of the batter is perfect. That's where your crispy crunch will come from. So it goes right back in the oven for about 25-26 minutes. So it's been about 25 minutes, and it's time to take our cornbread out of the oven. You can see how nice and golden brown it is. You need to give it about 10 minutes at room temperature just to cool off a little before you slice it, and we'll come back to serve. So it's been about 25-26 minutes on our cornbread at 400 degrees, taking it out of the oven, and gave it about 10 minutes at room temperature. It's time to slice this into squares and serve, and you can see how delicious it is. It's got a great texture, great flavor. You can serve this with chili or with my glazed turnips recipe, or just on its own with some honey. It's a great snack, and I think you're going to love it.